Portions of this show are recorded. Strap in and be prepared.
Room for error is much slimmer in basketball.
One player and it changes your entire team. It's not like that in football. It's just not.
It's not.
Interesting guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Coach Mark Waskowski, Noah Eagle, Melissa Lombardi, Kenyon Barnard, Jonathan Stewart.
Sharp opinions.
Dana Altman probably earned a pass for a down year after almost 20 years of what he's done for Oregon basketball.
And some smiles.
Guys, I was stuck in a car wash.
Sounds like an R. Kelly song.
It's not an R. Kelly song.
It's Danny Havel.
I can't remember, and I've been doing this for longer than you've been alive, which is really horrible that I have to say that, but it's the truth.
Justin Grossweiner.
It's like the saying in Alaska that you don't have to be faster
Than the bear.
You just have to be faster than your friend.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Fox Sports Newport.
Hello, neighbors, and welcome. Hi, top the Delta Triad, Crystal Palace. Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport. It is Hump Day, and we get ready for March Madness and an extended program yet again today on the Danny and Justin radio show. You can follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Danny and Justin. Also, wherever you pick up your podcasts or music, whatever platform you're on, Danny and Justin as well. Thanks for lending us your ears for the next hour and a half. That's right, overtime again with Danny and Justin, as we'll take you up to the first four with a couple more games, 2 more tickets officially punched to the field of 64, and it'll be Lehigh against Prairie View A&M, and it'll be SMU against Miami of Ohio, the undefeated Redhawks of Miami. We'll have Goose in the studio as well. We're going to have Travis Demers, the voice of the Blazers. We're going to have the judge, John Warren, talking all things Oregon State as we get you ready for the weekend. No show for us tomorrow or Friday, as we will step aside for Westwood One's coverage of the NCAA tournament. We'll also discuss, not necessarily in great detail, our brackets, but we'll tell you who we think is going to win the whole thing. And judging on our records, you might not want to take our advice. I'm Doc, Danny, otherwise, and right over there is my tag team partner, Justin Grossman. I would call him Baby J. What a boy!
Well, I'm just looking at Prairie View A&M
Yeah.
and Lehigh, the Mountain Hawks. Great name, by the way.
Yeah, we should have an all mascot bracket.
Brian and I did this on Friday Night Live for all the Oregon mascots.
It was pretty
It's
cool.
great. Yeah.
We should have done one for the NCAA
We should
tournament. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
These teams do not have impressive records. Prairie View A&M, which, by the way, sounds like a school from a Hollywood movie about the NCAA tournament.
Starring Keanu Reeves.
Something like that.
Or Jeremy Piven.
They are 17, excuse me. So 18 and 17. And then Lehigh, as I said, the Mountain Hawks, are 18 and 16.
So they must have won their conference tournaments.
They must have.
Get the automatic qualifier.
I see neither of these teams making a run.
Well, so the prize to win is going to be taking on the Gators of Florida, defending
Good luck.
national champions. So let's just mark that one in as Florida moving on to the round of 32.
Well, you never know.
Oh, stop! This is not going to be the Virginia. What was the upset way long ago? I think it was the only 1-16 game. It was. I know Virginia was the one who lost, but who did they lose to?
It was
UMBC. See, I had it. I had UMBC. So, and let's see. It's not UMBC this year. They were, though. UMBC was in the game the other night, weren't they? I thought they were, yeah. But Howard beat UMBC. And Howard moves on to take on Michigan as another number 16 seed. So,
another 16 seed is Long Island. Shout out to Travis Demers,
who we're going to have on here in a few minutes. Yeah, awesome.
I don't know if they're going to make a run. They're playing Arizona, but I'll be rooting for them.
So how long have you been inside today? Because it is pristine, gorgeous, beautiful. 80 degrees outside here. It's 53 right now in Newport. So
Mostly inside.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
outside.
mostly inside, unfortunately.
You going to be able to get out after the program, even though
I'll
we're going
take
to
a
keep
little-
you another
yeah.
half hour?
I'll take a little walk
Walk around the building?
around the building. Around
So
the
do you go down the hill
Crystal
and then
Palace
back
is the
up?
Little Triad. Do I go down and then up? Yeah. I go, down and then around.
Well, you have to go down before you go back up because of where we're at.
Yeah. This is
That
great
was
radio.
that was a trick question.
I
by the
didn't
way.
know.
There is
I didn't pick it up.
there are 2 levels to the Delta Triad. There is a lower floor and there's an upper floor. We are on the upper level when you come in. We're all the way down on what I would call the west end of the building when you come on up here. If you ever have to come up pick up prizes. And by the way, speaking of prizes, we are going to reach into the magic fedora that I brought from home.
Yeah, you
My
brought it
magic
back.
fedora. I brought it back as hear that?
Yeah, we can.
Is we're going to draw the name of the winner from our Big Bets contest from the fans that either participated or won. If you won, you got extra chances in the hat. And you will be awarded a one-night stay with 7 of your friends at the Coquel Suite. You can stay down there overnight. They'll give you a lot of food, beverages, non-alcoholic. But all that you can shove down your gullet and you can watch the national championship game. How about that? All right? And I hear we're going to do a Masters contest as well.
I've heard the same thing.
All right. Well, we will reveal that. We're not going to confuse the issue, but we'll have that. Goose will be in, and we'll let Goose, the big fat winner of this round, we'll let him draw the name because he didn't get to do it last time.
No, he wasn't around. It was just us.
Just you and I, and we were down there at Coquel when we drew the name for the national championship game for football. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's on the program today. So we got a lot to get to, so let's dive right into it. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clicks hotline at 541. We got World Baseball Classic we need to talk about before the end of the show,
I know,
okay?
yeah.
Can we pull Goose into this conversation, you think?
If he watched.
Oh, he probably was. So we've got the Judge John Warren coming up near the bottom of the hour, but first let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clicks hotline at 541-343-5673 and welcome in our dear friend Travis Demers, the mayor of Rip City. Travis, are you in Indiana right now?
I sure am.
Oh, okay. Let's stop right there. You don't sound great right now. What's going on? So who infected you? Who is the culprit? We want names.
It's a great question. I don't think I know the answer to that because in Brooklyn, I wasn't feeling great for the game the other night, and my nephew did stats with me, and my sister ended up showing up, and my niece, and I saw them briefly, but I think there's more of a chance that I infected them with something, so I think I already had it. So we got to go back to Philadelphia. I think it might just been the city of Philadelphia.
That was a bad start to the trip. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
Do you want to start there and then talk about Brooklyn, or do you just want to just start talking about Brooklyn and Indiana in the final leg of this trip?
What do you guys want to know? I mean, you look at that game against Philadelphia, and ton of turnovers. You had an early lead in that game, and you're playing a team that, there's a couple of pretty good role players available, but no Maxey, obviously no Embiid, no Paul George. That's a game you probably should have won. And road games are always tough, especially when you're going cross country in that first game on the trip. Those are always tough.
Yeah.
But there are also games at this point of the season you got to find a way to win.
So, and let's start there, Travis, and we're with the mayor of Rip City, obviously, Travis Demers, who's got the call for the Pacers and the Blazers tonight as they are on this 5-game road swing that started in Philadelphia. So, I mean, it has to be puzzling because the Blazers are fighting for positioning. Now, it's maybe 1 or 2 spots. I mean, it's going to be 10, 9, I don't know if 8's still even a possibility, but
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. I mean, so that's what is even more puzzling with seeming Philadelphia is ripe for the picking, that they come out flat, and with the last part of the season upcoming. I mean, these are games the Blazers can't let slip away.
Sure. So, to that point, I don't know if they came out flat. I mean, actually, they got out to a pretty hot start. They were up 9-0, and then all of a sudden, it pretty quickly went away, and they were losing by the end of the first quarter. But I think a lot of it comes down to, focus, right? And you look at some of the turnovers, and you look at the way that, even though they won big against Utah, that was a game they allowed 38 points off of turnovers. You look at the win over Brooklyn, they won the game by 19 points. Okay, they had a 31-point lead, and 19 points off of turnovers is a lot, but that was just the second half. And at one point, the Nets went on a 16-0 run. It's like, what's happening here? And I think a lot of that comes down to focus. So at this point of the season, when you've got to win those games, you have to find a way to make sure that everybody is focused. Obviously, it's more than just that, but I think that plays a big part of it.
Someone we haven't really talked a ton about this season, I think we've mentioned him a bit, but Toumani Camara, it's been a bit of a down year for him just in terms of his percentages. He's shooting a little bit lower from three. His overall percentage is down a little bit, but he's still a really great defender. I think that extension they did with him is still a really, really good extension. But had a really nice game the other day against the Nets, 7-9, 2 or 3 from 3. Did a lot, of course, on the defensive end. What do you think the difference is for him when he does play well and when he doesn't?
Play well in terms of like scoring.
I guess so. Yeah, because it feels like the defense is always there, but it just feels like sometimes he'll have those nights where he'll take like 7 threes and he'll hit like 2 of them, and it just doesn't make sense.
He's had a lot of those lately, and that's part of the problem. I mean, look, if before this stretch of like, I'd have to look it up. I haven't gotten to that in my prep yet, but I think it's like the last 12 games. I think he's shooting like under 25% from three. It's not good, right? But prior to that, he was right around 37, 38% for the season after a really slow start. So, for him, it goes in waves. Last year, 38% from three. The year before, 33%. So, a lot of it does, go in waves for him. I think what makes him the best offensive player is when he's not a guy you have to rely on. Meaning, he is not, and we talked about this earlier in the year, that like, he should never be anybody's number one option. Mm-hmm. He should never be anybody's number two option. And that's not a knock on him. It's just not what his role is. And I think with some areas of that, there's a lot of similarities between the way that we talk about him and the way that we talked about Nick Batum, right? Because Nick Batum was that same kind of guy. He would go out and he would give great effort on defense. And there weren't a whole lot of other players who were going to give you an effort like that. He didn't have the energy for offense, and then he would have a big game offensively, and you'd be like, well, why can't he do that all the time? Well, because he shouldn't have to, right? So when he's at his best, it's when he is the third or fourth option on the floor, or, he is the result of a play that breaks down and he's in the right place at the right time. There aren't a lot of plays that are going to be drawn for him, and they shouldn't be. He shouldn't be taking 10 threes a night.
So just like Travis Demers, the mayor of Rip City, is the Iron Man in his broadcasting side of things, Toumani Camara, all 69 games, he is the same amount of minutes as Denny Advia averages when he's on the floor, 33 minutes a game. So Travis, he is one of those X factors, though. So, I mean, people would like to point to Denny or somebody else and go, that the way they go, that's the way the team goes. But somebody like Camara is one of those players that if he's within the role and within the scheme, he can lift the team up consistently, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because, there are times where you need a big three late in a game, and let's say you have let's say you have the starting five of late out there, right? And it's, Denny, Jeremy, Drew, Toumani, and Klingon. You need a big three late in the game. Who's going to be the first guy that the defense looks to take that shot? It's not Camara. Who's going to be the second guy? It's not Camara. Who's going to be the third guy? It's not Camara. And when the ball gets rotated to him and he's got an open shot because they're not looking to him as the first or second or third option, and he comes up with a big play, those are the types of plays that change the tide of a game in big situations. And those are the types of plays that can win you a critical game or a playoff game or a playoff series. And, he's not the kind of guy that's going to elevate you and be a franchise player, right? He's not the kind of guy that you hit your wagon to and say, that's the guy that's going to take us into, the next generation of Blazers basketball. but he is the guy that you have on your roster with those other players that is the difference between being a good team and a great team. And I'm not saying they're a great team right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying players like him are a lot of times the missing piece for great teams.
Yeah, you need guys like that are going to be not the star player, that they're just going to fill in a role and be great at that and be a star in their role. I think that's something that coaches say a lot of their time. But it's funny the way you describe his shooting as coming in waves, because I think just when I look at this roster, it feels like that's the entire roster as a team of guys whose shooting comes in waves, and the numbers bear that out. They're actually now not the last in three-point percentage. They are second to last to the Kings. Does this team literally come down to if they shoot well, they're going to win? Because obviously the NBA, it comes down to three-point shooting so much nowadays. Teams take so many of them. Is it really that simple with this team?
Making threes?
Yeah.
No. I think that's part of it, right? I mean, look, if you make 23s in a game, you've got a better chance of winning than if you make 10, right?
Right.
But you also don't want to turn the ball over, 100 times. I'm looking it up right now because I hadn't gotten to that part on my prep yet. So I'm going to look it up while we are talking here in terms of the turnovers, okay? And in terms of the turnovers, the Blazers, I know, are last in the league. They average 17.4 turnovers a game. Number 30 on that list is the Nets at 15.9. Okay, that's a difference of 1.4. So the difference between 30 and 29, so we want to find 14.5, where is that? That is the Clippers at 16. The difference between 30 and 29 is the same difference between 30 and 16. That's just between turnovers. That's not points off of turnovers. And that's a problem, right? So you can't have that and expect to win games. The Blazers at 21.8 last in the league points off of turnovers, and the Jazz at 20.1 or 29, so that's another 1.7. So that's 18.4. Where is 18.4? This is great radio, by the way. That would
We do it all the time, Travis. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
21. So the difference between 30 and 29 points off of turnovers is the difference between 29 and 21. That's a problem. And you're not going to allow teams to score 38 points off of turnovers and win a game very often unless it's a team like the Jazz. So you can't win basketball games doing that. When the Blazers had the big lead against Brooklyn, they didn't allow a single point off of turnovers in the first half of that game. That's great.
Wow.
And then when that 31-point lead got trimmed down to 15, it's because they gave up a ton. So I do think threes are important. I think the points off of turnovers are just as important.
I guess the natural follow-up would be, how the heck are they winning games if they are the worst turnover team by a significant margin and they cannot shoot threes?
Offensive rebounding. They also turn teams over a lot, too. So you look at the points off of turnovers, they even that out fairly well because they force a lot of turnovers, right? So they're eighth in the league in points off of turnovers. So really, yeah, they're giving up 21.1, I think it was, whatever it was. They're only like -2 per game on points off of turnovers. So they're forcing a lot of turnovers. They're also getting a lot of second chance opportunities. They lead the league in second chance points per game. Nobody has more offensive rebounds than Donovan Clingan. Nobody has more second chance points than Donovan Clingan. They're top 4 in the league in three-pointers attempted, but it's because a lot of those are on the second or third shot of the possession, and they're getting offensive rebounds. So if they're shooting 33% and they're getting offensive rebounds and they make the third one, well, that's still the same possession.
Yeah.
And a lot of games they're taking 7, 8, 9 shots more than the opponent. So I think all of those things together, like on the right night, and sometimes you'll have somebody like Denny carry you, or we saw that stretch where, Drew and Jeremy carried this team. I think it's just a lot of those things. But the Blazers also haven't won back-to-back games in over a month. So while they're hovering around 500, they haven't lost back-to-back games very often, but they haven't won back-to-back games since February 9th, and they've got a chance to do that tonight.
33 and 36 on the season. It's the voice of the Blazers. You can follow him at Travis Demers on all the socials, and he joins us here on the Danny and Justin radio program. So Indiana this afternoon, Minnesota on the 20th, and then you finish up the road swing in Denver, Mile High City on the 22nd, then 4 straight at home, and starting with Brooklyn on the 23rd of March and the back-to-back after being on the road. So Travis, as we
Yeah, who
look
doesn't love that?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, at least you get to come home and dump out all the milk that you didn't drink as you were gone, unless you did that before you left.
No. I get the Fairlife milk. That's good for like 2 months.
Oh,
so I don't have to
for
worry
you.
about that. That's
smart.
good stuff.
That's a thing?
You didn't know this,
No,
Justin?
I love milk too. I'm a big milk guy.
All right, so off the air, you need to school Baby J on that. Okay, Travis?
To be fair, it doesn't go bad very often with me.
Okay, that's fine. So is there, in your opinion, I mean, without the obvious, getting into the 8 seed rather than 9 and 10, because 9 and 10, you lose, you're done. 7, 8, you lose the game, you still got another chance to get in to secure the 8 seed for the regular tournament. So, I mean, for the Blazers down this stretch and the competition that they have, because, I mean, games are starting to shrink now. You don't have that many left on the calendar.
13.
Well, yeah, who's counting, right? You were. So we always like to play this game with you down the stretch, is that let's take the win total. Where does it need to be over these last 13 games for the Blazers to feel like they can get into that 8 seed?
Well, they're a game and a half back of the Clippers for the 8 seed.
Okay.
So that's very much in play. They're only one game back in the win column back of the Clippers. And right now, I mean, the Clippers have the tiebreaker because they beat the Blazers twice, but they play each other 2 more times. So the Blazers winning if they lose both of those games, they're not getting up to 8. If they win both of them, there's a great chance they could.
Yeah.
If they split them, it's probably not that likely. They probably need to beat the Clippers in both games if they want to get up to 8. So with 13 games left, the Clippers have a fairly easy schedule. The Blazers have a fairly easy schedule. You probably need. I'm just looking at the schedule right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're probably going to be favored in 7 or 8 of those.
Got to win 8, right?
At least, yeah. You probably need to go no worse than 8 and 5. You probably need to go 9 and 4, maybe 10 and 3. So
doable. It's doable.
Yeah, it's doable, and we keep saying that. Okay, the schedule's getting easier, but they haven't put together a full 48 minutes in quite some time. So, tonight against Indiana, where that team has nobody, basically. Yesterday they played the Knicks. They had 11 guys that were questionable.
Wow. That's nuts.
Yeah. They're in kind of a similar position tonight. They've got a lot of guys that are questionable for this game tonight. So there's going to be, and that's a team that's lost 14 in a row.
Yeah, you got to take them tonight.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, no, definitely. So It's interesting as you look at this plan too. I mean, the Warriors, Clippers, Suns, and then I don't think that the Nuggets are going to fall or the Houston, but man, Anthony Edwards is going to be out for a little bit. So I kind of see maybe the Timberwolves possibly could fall to 7. I don't know. Maybe that's a little crazy, but just out of the teams that the Blazers are going to potentially play in the play-in, are there any teams or a single team in there that you look at as I don't know if they've got this team, because I think they've done pretty well against all of them this season.
Now, the Clippers, the one team that they struggle with. I mean, everybody struggles against Kawhi Leonard, but they've never really been able to defend Kawhi Leonard. And when that dude can go in and drop 40 or 50, and he has been so good. And you also look at what the Clippers have done, since early in the season. I think they've had one of, if not the best records in the NBA. 'Cause they were really bad there for a while, right? At one point, they were like 6-21. So since then, they're 28-13, and that's with losing the last 2 games, a bad loss to Sacramento and losing to San Antonio. But they've got back-to-back games against the Pelicans right now, and the Pelicans are playing good basketball. They have no reason to lose. They don't have their draft pick. So those will be pretty tough games. I think the Clippers, if Steph's healthy, who knows? But, the Clippers, with the way that Brook Lopez can space the floor and shoot threes, and Kawhi Leonard does what Kawhi Leonard does, Benedict Mathurin has been terrific for that team since they added him. It's a good team.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all about matchups, and especially down the stretch. We'll see how it happens. All right, Travis, please get some rest, okay?
That is the plan.
All right, so chicken soup, honey and lemon.
Jewish penicillin, baby.
Boy. Travis, we appreciate your time, bud. As always, you're a gem.
All right, guys, thanks.
You. There he goes. The great mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers. As when we come back, we will switch gears mightily back to the Beaver State. And by the way, oh my goodness, here's the judge, John Warren, waiting in the wings to talk Oregon State men's baseball, basketball a little bit. I'm sure he's got some thoughts on Justin Joyner.
Impressions for spring football as well.
And spring football. A lot to go over with the judge next on the Danny and Justin radio program. Hang on. If you missed our interview with the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers, who's in Indiana, Pacers and Blazers this afternoon, as they are in the middle of their 5-game road swing, you can catch it on the podcast, Danny and Justin, wherever your platform is. And also, now, since I've got your ears, if you hang out for another 15, 20 minutes, you get to hear the judge, John Warren, as we bring him on the old radio program. Longer program. We get overtime with Danny and Justin today. We go up till 3:30 today as we get ready for the last of the first 4 at Dayton, as it'll be Lehigh against Prairie View A&M first, and then it'll be SMU and our favorite one-loss team, Miami of Ohio.
No longer undefeated.
No longer undefeated. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Collects hotline at 541-343-5673. And he is now the czar of midvalleyradio.com. You can get it on your phone. You can go online and listen to it. It is a it's not brand new. He's been doing it for a while, been flying under the radar, but you can listen mornings with John Warren, the judge, from 6 to 9. Welcome, buddy. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, and appreciate you having me on a new venue or new venture and all that. It's going pretty well. I want to take up real quick for Miami of Ohio. I've been watching them and thinking, I mean, is it just me? When they were like 28-0, 29-0, they could barely crack the top 22, and I thought, really? I thought the MAC got more.
Not this year. No, they didn't. I mean, heck, the WAC barely got a team in. And do you see where they put the champ, Utah Valley? I mean, they were like a 13 seed, 14 seed. It's top heavy. It always has been, always will be. There's a lot of things we can fix, John. We don't have enough time today, but we're gonna. Right. We will sit in a dark room somewhere and we'll figure it out.
Go Redhawks or whatever they call themselves.
The Redhawks. It is.
I love that.
Absolutely. So, John, you still are our expert when it comes to all things Oregon State. So we're going to go around the horn. We've got baseball to talk about. I want to talk about the new basketball coach on the men's side. I also do want to talk about football, spring practice, a few more practices still slated before Oregon State's spring game under new head coach DeMarcus Shepard. And then I want to finish up with the WBIT, which is made just a joke out of their tournament. But although Oregon State's playing, so I'm glad that the Beaver women get rewarded with playing in the postseason, although I think they got gypped a little bit not getting in the NCAA tournament, but I'll leave that to the end. So let's start with baseball. What happened in Portland? I mean, come on, man. 3-1 loss to Portland at Joe Etzel Field, and the Beavers load the bases with 2 down in the 9th, and they can't push a run across. Can't push anything across.
Which is wild because first of the year, that was a problem. It's like, where's the offense coming from? The pitching is outstanding, but there's no offense. And, in the loss to Purdue and Alabama, it's like, this is a problem. And then the last 2 weeks against Xavier, albeit not as good, but they found some offense. They started hitting home runs. And then just this last weekend, they hit 10 home runs.
Yeah.
As they're on the road, you're thinking, okay, all right, the power is here, the offense is back, everything is right with the world, and this team can do some special things. And then they lay an egg. I can only attribute it to some Tuesday nights. Now, a week ago Tuesday, they had a really good outing to keep it alive from the Xavier series against Oregon. But I thought last night just reminded me of last year where just, an occasional Tuesday, they laid an egg. It's just there really isn't a lot of explanation for it because the offense completely disappeared. That's not what we've seen in the last 7 or 8 games, and they had a 9-game winning streak.
Yeah, and it was sort of the point where maybe they were being a little underrated, and maybe the power isn't as much of a problem as we could have thought, and then all of a sudden
this happens.
And then all of a sudden this happens, right?
Well, I think this weekend would be a good tell because Irvine's not great, but I think they're equal to or better than Portland. And, going on the road, see what you can do for 3 games. They'll have a really tough challenge next Tuesday, taking on a USC team that I think only if they're not undefeated, they only got one loss. And that'll be a big tell next Tuesday. But again, midweek games, you see number one ranked teams lose to no names on midweek games. You see that all the time. And you don't want to just fall into that category and say, well, that was no big deal. No, you should win those games. But, they had runners in scoring position all night and couldn't drive them in. And the Beavers had, all kinds of opportunities. They just couldn't get it done. So it was hopefully an outlier, and I think we'll know more after this weekend.
Well, and for the Beavers, they left 9 on base. You cannot do that. And so I guess, though, John, and we'll jump off of baseball here in a second and move to basketball, is it amplified, or are we making too much out of it, like you said, a Tuesday start and, in-state rival type of thing? But because of the independent schedule, you don't want this one to be like that boil, on your butt at the end of the season when you start talking about RPI and power rankings and where you're at, because the Beavers are now in that, teen category in terms of national rankings. So, I mean, do you make too much out of this, or you say, what, they got plenty of time to recover?
They got plenty of time to recover.
Okay.
I don't make a lot out of it because it's so early and it's one game, and there hasn't been a lot of them, To lose after a 9-game winning streak, I don't mind it. Now, if there's trouble this weekend, then it's a different story. Not that the whole year will be tanked. This weekend does not, make the whole season live or die, but it will give us an opportunity to see if they can quickly bounce back to the other side of plenty of offense and some home runs and go, okay, that's where they'll live, or no offense at all this weekend, and it might be, might be where they live.
Yep. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So Justin Joyner was introduced. Do you have any first impressions from what we heard from him and just him in general?
I like him. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's young, and that's fine in his 30s, mid, upper 30s. For someone like me, shaking my fist at the clouds. But no, he was great. He gave a shout out to Wayne Tinkle. I thought that was classy, and his wife is the women's soccer coach at Oregon. You guys know that?
Oh yeah. Believe me, we know.
That's a crazy thing. I don't think that's ever happened before. Can you think of any situation like that anywhere?
No, but I think there's going to be a couple of properties in Monroe that might be up for sale now.
Well, that's the joke around the office was, where are they going to live? And I go, Junction City or Monroe?
Monroe is going to be better than the Long Branch. That's the watering hole right there.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's right. He was asked that question. He didn't answer it directly. He didn't say where they'll live, but he was asked about it. I like him. The one thing that I noticed, and it wasn't a bad thing in any way, shape, or form, but when he talked about offense, he said, we're going to shoot a lot of threes. We want to shoot a lot of threes, and we want rim shots, rim twos. He called them rim twos, meaning big man down low, good percentage shot. Okay, fine. But he specifically said, we're not going to be shooting any mid-range jumpers. We don't want the mid-range stuff unless, and he gave a caveat, unless there's a player on the squad that's their thing and they're really, really good at it, and we'll exploit that and support it. But as a philosophy, we want to shoot a lot of threes and rim twos. And I smiled because, guys, this is my deal I've been harping on the Joe Beaver Show for years now. Mm-hmm. I got into it with Brad Brown, who's he's the numbers guy, datametrics or analytics guy for Oregon State baseball.
Okay.
And it's just this argument of our age, Danny, and the younger set, Justin, where it's back and forth, and the youngsters' rallying cry, three's better than two. Three's better than two, buddy.
Yeah.
Three's better than two.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think, and this is debatable, you can talk about it on your show, I think the 86 Celtics would crush any team right now. That's just me.
Wow.
I just think that kind of basketball was better than no matter what. Okay? So it's not, I don't worry about it with Justin Joyner at all. I think he's going to be, he just seems like a great guy and could be very successful. But as an older person, I don't really like that. I like backdoor cuts, free throw line jumpers, anything that can get you points, rather than launch up a bunch of threes and hope that half of them go in.
Well, Ralph Miller is spinning right now. That's all I can say when he heard that. But as we,
I feel like I have to jump in here and speak for the.
Okay, all right,
some of us in the
let me get my. Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
I'll get my next question.
I
Go
do
ahead.
think
Justin,
that's fair. I am not going to just be in the same place that many of the people that you're thinking of are kind of like, because I think the mid-range in particular is one of those shots where if you look at all the best basketball players, they pretty much all have a mid-range jumper. And all the best teams have a guy that can exploit that area of the floor. So I think you're right that I wouldn't go as far as saying the 86 Celtics would beat any team today. I'm more of a 96 Bulls guy. But that being said,
that's his bias, though.
That's my bias.
It's
but
big
no, I think the
bias.
86 Celtics are a great team. But I do think there is something to be said about having the analytical tendency to go to a certain shot. Like 3 is more than 2. I think that it's fair to say that that shot is very important, obviously.
Yeah, got it.
But I also think that you have to base it on your player. So I think that it is interesting that he said that if a player has that, because it almost seems to me like if you have a certain philosophy, he probably wouldn't recruit a player that would have that, if that makes sense.
True. He might have been speaking about the guys that he gets.
Yeah.
Rather than the guys he goes and recruits. So you're right. But just from a philosophical standpoint, first of all, it's ugly basketball. You're just watching a bunch of threes get launched.
Very ugly.
And I say that not for Oregon State's future, but I say that for the NBA. I can't stand it. I love the game of basketball so much and have known it for 55 years. And I've never thought of running and gunning like James Harden, launching all that. Remember when Houston would put up 100 threes? And make
Absolutely. Yep.
That's not basketball. Who wants to watch that?
Yeah.
Well, we saw Wisconsin go to Matthew Knight Arena and shoot 66 of them.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It was a long, long night. We are with the judge, John Warren from Corvallis. You can listen to him mornings on the old the computer radio, midvalleyradio.com.
We have an app.
Yes, and I say
download for free.
Right, on the iPhone or the Android. You guys are all fancy and stuff. And there's other programming on there as well. News, sports, weather. They do it just like you do over terrestrial radio. So we're always happy to have John on the program. So one thing that Justin Joyner and Jamarcus Shepard can't fix is how much money they're going to have. So the exit of Wayne Tinkle, it kind of came out that there was a disparity with what Coach Tinkle thought that the program was going to need to be successful and what Scott Barnes was going to be able to loosen up during the purse strings or NIL, damnation, whatever you want to call it. So that is not going to change with a new coach. You can change a coach, but the revenue and the realities of that are not going to change. So how much is that going to hamper this new coaching staff for both football and basketball if it can't change seismically?
Well, okay. You just
How long do we
opened up
have?
a massive Pandora's box, exactly.
Sure. But it's the truth.
The last part of the question was what? If it can't
Well, I mean, if you're not going to wrest more money out of this, in other words, if Scott Barnes comes in with the new head coach, let's just say it's Justin Joyner. Let's use that as the perfect example. All right, Wayne Tinkle said, "I need $4 million instead of $2 million. That's what I need for NIL." And Scott Barnes says, "Justin Joyner, you've got $2 million. That's it. You've got $800,000 for your staff. That's it. You're not going to get any more money." The old coach had a big disagreement about what that was going to look like moving forward. The new coach is going to have to work with that. How much does that set him back right from the jump?
Huge.
Okay.
I mean, right now, as one report shows, Oregon State would be 7th in funding for basketball amongst the 8 Pac-12 teams. Or maybe it's all sports, I don't know. But 7th out of the 8 Pac-12 teams. Right now, we know Gonzaga's basketball budget is $5 million. What did you say? Oregon State's $2 million?
$2 million. That's what the reports were. Now that nothing's been verified or validated by Oregon State. Okay,
that's fine. These are general numbers that we all pretty much know about. That it's a lot less than Gonzaga and St. Mary's and
absolutely.
Some of the others. Look, I have my opinions on this, and it doesn't mean that Justin Joyner won't be successful. But I don't think any coach anywhere, Calipari, comes from Arkansas to Oregon State. It wouldn't matter. If you only have $2 million, you're not going to get the same players that the other teams are going to get.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Yeah. So
it's going to be that way forever for all Oregon State sports unless there's more. Now, we don't know because Scott Barnes said that he will fund it at the highest level. or at the old level. Right now, we know that it's not happening or that the money's not there, but he did make that promise. So we'll see what happens in the end when they do get their final budget.
By the way, I like Justin Joyner as well. I think, that enthusiasm coming in, first head coaching position, there's a lot of ramp for him, or as my grandfather would say, a lot of rope.
West Coast ties as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing with Jamarcus Shepard. So let's morph into the football side of things, and spring practices are going on. Spring game going to be coming up. Offensive-minded head coach, very effusive, very outgoing. He's saying all the right things. He's engaging the fan base, re-energizing the team, but it's still going to come down to wins and losses. So, do you get a sense and a feeling that there is another seismic shift, and this time in football, for Jamarcus Shepard just because of his enthusiasm?
I think that will have a lot to do with some early success. Those kinds of things can make it. We're finding out, and I'll just say we loosely, and I'll just say what we're learning loosely about the last 2 years and how bad it really was on many levels, that I think can be remedied immediately with the new coaches, the new effort, the new the new positive energy. All of what's happening now that everybody's excited about is a great, great thing. But going back to our previous discussion, for me personally, across the board, how much money you got? Because that's the level of players you're going to get, and that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
You can overcoach. You can overcoach, coach up, but only to a certain extent. It ultimately falls down to, unfortunately, and it makes sports talk radio seem really short, you either have the money or you don't, and the ones who have the money are going to win.
And I know you hate that, John.
Yep. It's a fact.
It is a fact. So how do they get more money?
How do they get more money,
That I
John?
don't know. That I don't know. How does anybody get more money? Honestly, we could talk about this for hours. This whole college sports thing, it's ruined. It's done. It's over. It's done. You can't do it anymore. First, the players are mercenaries. They come and they go within 1 year. Boom, you're here, you're gone. Does a booster want to give money to a player? The collectives have tried that. Ooh, sign up and we'll give money to players. I'm not giving a hard-earned dime to some quarterback who comes in and just, big times you and then they leave. No, I'll give a lot of hard-earned dimes to a program for a new locker room or new this or new that, but not an individual player. And you know what? I said it on our show early on, and that is bearing fruit. These collectives, they're run by one billionaire. Texas Tech, Oregon, well, all these other billionaires load them up because the average Joe is not paying into a collective so that a guy can have money to play college football. And if they are, they're not too bright, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're going to be able to share the stick that we can wave at the moon, because I agree with you 100%. And if you're going to give money, give it directly to a program that's going to help fund facilities, help fund uniforms, help fund the turf or whatever it is, and make it earmarked for that. All right. Well, one last thing. WBIT. When the bracket came out, first of all, I think Oregon State women got hosed a little bit with their 23-11 record, and they were right at the finish of the WCC, got to this championship game. And I don't know if it's the overall strength of the WCC, the politics that are involved in naming teams, but okay, so you get the consolation tournament, the WBIT. What in the heck is Wisconsin at 13-17 doing in that field?
Boy, that's a great question. I think there's 3 teams that are sub 500. Justin, is it 3 or 2?
No, actually, I think there's only one other team that's sub 500. You've got a 500 team in there as well.
Yeah.
Is what I saw.
But you also have but every other team in that tournament has like 28, 29, 27 wins. Yeah. And we're regular season conference champs that didn't win their respective tournaments, which means it's a good tournament. It's subsidized by the NCAA, just like the new NIT is. It's better than the WNIT. And in every way, it's very positive. It's got backing. It's got all this, except for those 2 teams. And Oregon State. Now, hey, if they want to send a sub-500 team to Corvallis and you get a first-round home game, that's great. Where they got hosed, though, is where they're positioned because they win, and they got to go to Miami for a Sunday game.
All the way across the country.
Yeah.
And they're not even seeded. Wisconsin's seeded over Oregon State. They're the 3 seed in that pod.
Yeah. Well, that, you know what that is? That is absolute disrespect to the West Coast Conference. And, hey, that's fine. That's fine. You go out and beat the snot out of them and show the people that and let Wisconsin think they're better because they're coming from the mighty Big Ten. We'll show them.
Okay. Georgia Tech, by the way, is the only other team that was sub 500. I got that right, Baby J, right? Because you got
I think so.
Texas A&M at 14-12.
Missouri is 16-16.
Yeah, and they're at 500. So so those are the only 2 seeds.
Well, then how come Damon Stoudemire couldn't get into the NIT with the sub 500 record?
I don't know. A question we'll be able to chew on the next time we have you on the program, buddy. Hey, great job getting. You're an entrepreneur now. MidvalleyRadio.com. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Fun to be a businessman.
You can teach me a few things. All right, buddy.
Well, I'm not the boss of anybody, but
yeah, not even in his own household, just like me. We just walk around and just say yes, ma'am. So
I have my wife as our business manager, and she's done a great job. And there's a lot of stuff she's done that I could have never done. But it doesn't go over very well when I say, "When can I have that on my desk?"
Oh, good. All right. Well, good for you. Good luck. That's all I can say. Thanks, Judge. Appreciate you, bud.
Thanks, guys.
All right. There he goes, the great John Warren. Quick break. Come back. We will preview the next half hour. Goose will be in the studio. We're going to have a big drawing.
Big drawing.
Big drawing.
For big bets.
For big bets. We're going to talk about the NCAA basketball tournament. We're going to give our predictions for who we think is going to be in the Final Four and is going to win. We didn't get to the World Baseball Classic yet, so let's talk about that. We can do that all here in the next half hour. Bonus time with Danny and Justin as we wind you up to the final day of the first 4 of the NCAA tournament on Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport. Thanks again to the judge, John Warren, also to the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers. If you missed either of those interviews here in the first hour, it's really odd to say that in the first hour. We have overtime with Danny and Justin, and here's Goose. Hey. Or the turn his microphone on. There you go.
I wasn't ready.
Do it again.
I'm sorry, filling out my bracket over here.
This is going to be like a deep dive bracket that you're going to do with us. Okay. So in the next half hour, we are going to draw for the winner of the Coquel Casino and Resort Suite for the national championship game for basketball. So everybody who played big bets with us has at least one entry. If you won, you got multiple entries, and they're all here in the hat. So Goose, since he was the big fat winner, and I've got to buy dinner for these guys.
Well, I still haven't bought dinner from the first one, though.
So that's one thing
you're on hold first.
You get to buy dinner first, and we're going to do a bracket contest just between the 3 of us. Mm-hmm. And if Justin loses the bracket contest, then we're all buying each other
we're
dinner.
All good.
No, we're not all good. We're all going to go out to dinner.
Yes. Isn't the general going to join us too? Wasn't he going to join us?
Yeah, he's like going to do some film thing that he wants to do for us.
Well, we can charge him for that, and then that'll if we're our NIL, maybe we can charge him if he needs us on video, and then that'll pay for the dinner.
All right, that's coming up. And we'll also talk, again, our brackets. We'll talk World Baseball Classic, the final last night, Venezuela.
Did you watch any of that, Mims?
I did. I watched the last 3 nights, and I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome.
So we'll talk about that as well in the next half hour. And I want to talk about, there is controversy now in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And that's called the Tease. We're going to talk about that when we get out of the top of the hour break. We're going to wind you down to the bottom of the hour, so 3:30 and 30 seconds exactly. It will be the last day of the first 4 in Dayton, Ohio, to find the last 2 teams that are going to go in the official field of 64, as Mims is hurriedly scurrying through his bracket right now. So you got your Final 4, you got your champion.
I do.
Mims is working on it right now. There are satellites linking up. He's consulted all of his scores of experts from out his many, many years as a scribe here and nationally. Boy, can't you hardly wait? Well, you're going to have to for at least a couple of minutes. Top of the hour break, and then we'll be back. Our last half hour of the week. We'll be off the air on, well, we won't be on the air Thursday and Friday. The stations will be on the air, just we won't be talking on them. So stay tuned. Danny and Justin continue. Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport. We're still in the preseason for baseball, right? I'm sorry, the regular season yet.
9 days.
They call it spring training in baseball, not preseason. But yes, we are.
Indeed.
And what's your name again?
The door was locked. You let me in.
My mistake. That won't happen again. The Danny and Justin radio program, yes. The interloper over here to my right is Goose, Steve Mims. Thanks for tuning in, friends. And bonus coverage of the Danny and Justin radio program. We call it Overtime. It's the only special time of the year when we have March Madness. We didn't do this last year. We didn't do an extended show last year. Where was I last year? Was I around?
We were at prime time.
For Monday and Tuesday. We're not on Wednesday, were we?
No.
No, we were on Monday and Tuesday at prime time. I can't remember what. Dude, I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Honestly, at all.
So, all right, in this half hour, and by the way, we discussed before we got to the top of the hour about how I won the first section of Big Bets. Goose won the second section of Big Bets. And we're all going to do a bracket challenge, which we're going to reveal our final four. We're not going to go through every single game, but we'll reveal our final four and who we think is going to win. But the three of us are going to have a challenge amongst ourselves for the NCAA basketball tournament. And whoever wins that doesn't have to pay. Whoever loses has to buy dinner for everyone. And you brought up a good point that you and I are both winners on this thing. Baby J's the only one.
We're both losers on this
probably
thing.
losers on this thing.
Yeah.
Which means Baby J has won technically
So
both.
we need him to lose.
I think if
Him
I
to lose.
don't lose, I might be able to eat free for a week.
But what I like better is that the general just heard the last part of it and says that he's buying dinner for everybody.
Well,
I just heard that.
I think he heard me saying he was buying that because I had heard a rumor that he was like taking advantage of our NIL and he wanted to be part of the dinner to videotape it and promote something. I said, if we're being used as models to promote something, then it should be paid for.
Okay, I just heard that Jeff was going to buy dinner.
Well, he's not going to let me. I said that. Sorry, Jeff, if you're listening.
No, don't let him off the hook.
Well, unless you use us. If you use our NIL, we're going to take the NIL money.
Look at you, old Steve Mims, agent. He's the agent right now for the Danny and Justin radio program. So before we get to our Big Bets winner, because we do have a one-night stay for the national championship game to give away for all those that participated in Big Bets. And if you won, you get extra entries in this. Even if you just called in, you're going to have an entry. It's here in the hat. Goose, we're going to let you draw for that in a second.
Okay.
And then we'll go through our brackets and stuff like that. But I want to start with World Baseball Classic. And the first thing is Hockey Hall of Fame is not going to give the Golden Puck goal back to Jack Hughes. It's in the Hockey Hall of Fame right now. He asked for it back, and they're saying it's not his. He doesn't own it because he was a part of a national team. So they're not giving it to him. It was never his to own, according to Philip Pritchard, who's the vice president of the Resource Center and curator of the Hockey Hall of Fame. It was donated by the U.S., and that's where it's going to stay. So what do you guys think about that? Meh? I think...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, how does it work when baseball, we see like when Aaron Judge hits 62 or whatever, that the Hall of Fame asks for it. It feels like the athlete gets the thing and then the Hall of Fame asks for it and it's the athlete's option to give, which it sounds like this one they...
But does it belong to the Yankees or Major League Baseball, or does it belong to the player?
Yeah,
that's where...
Well, if someone catches it, then it belongs to
the
that
person.
Yeah, and then they sell it back.
And then
but I'm saying when it's like
yeah.
they come and take like the jersey from it. So, yeah, it seems like normally the Hall of Fame seem to ask, and maybe the players keep some things, but they are willing to give, between a bat, jersey, I don't have room for all 17 of the things I was wearing. I'll give you the shoes or something maybe they give.
Well, I mean, that would...
Maybe he could give him the skates and they give him back the puck.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, if it was me, I'd probably want the puck in my own trophy case.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be after all of those years that the U.S. had not won a gold medal and you score the winning goal, I think I'd like that in my trophy case.
I maybe have a good example of something like this. It's pretty similar, actually, and I know I'm a Cubs fan, so I'm going to bring this up. But when the Cubs won the World Series, Anthony Rizzo stuck that ball in his back pocket, and then he gave it to the owner of the team. So it sounds like the Major League Baseball never got that ball. So you would think they would want that, right?
The Ricketts family have that ball?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay.
So it seems like it's sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't.
Well, I think the problem that ended up happening there is that Jack Hughes never had possession of the puck, and Team USA gave it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, again, their contention is that he never, quote-unquote, owned it.
Physically having it seems like very important in this case here.
He was the last one to shoot it, however.
Yeah, but he didn't have it. He didn't hold it. he didn't have it in his possession.
All right, the World Baseball Classic. You boys watched it. I watched it.
I loved it.
I watched the last 4 innings of it. In fact, I was texting you when I thought it was all but done until Bryce Harper hits that 2-run home run.
It's a shame that Bryce didn't think anybody was watching.
Because, okay, now we talked about this in the run-up, and you had made mention of the fact that Bryce Harper was not having a good tournament. And for him to step up in that setting, I thought was pretty cool.
It was cool. It was a cool moment.
But
there it is.
But Venezuela had more thoroughbreds, and they were the underdogs. And you take all the I'm not. So, by the way, folks, if you want a political discussion, go to News Talk Radio or whatever, because we're not going to have that here on this program. That is not going to happen. So, anybody wants to dive into that, do it on your own. I thought it was a cool moment for Venezuela.
Very cool. They've entered the upper echelon now of baseball powers. You don't think about Venezuela as the powerhouse of, Major League Baseball.
Dominican Republic more than Venezuela.
The United States, Japan recently with whatever they've been doing and bringing
who won the
over
last
Ohtani.
one, right?
Exactly, and their wave of players. But Venezuela, I mean, they honestly even took me by surprise, and I'm someone that considers myself pretty in the know with Major League Baseball and the players, but if you look at their lineup, you're just like, all right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
Goose,
they're really good.
They have Acuna and Suarez. I mean, that was
really
a pretty
good.
good one.
Yeah.
And they had a Major League pitcher, Rodriguez, throwing last night. And I thought all three of the last 3 nights, the 2 semis and the final, were great. It's competitive baseball in spring training, which you don't normally get. Those lineups were ridiculous. The USA was so good that Cal Raleigh couldn't break in the lineup.
So why?
The Dominican team has basically a lineup of like Machado, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto.
Again, we're all talking
Vlad.
about Major League Baseball players, but in their home countries.
Watching 3 straight nights of really competitive baseball. The only thing that stinks is that the pitchers can't go more than 4 or 5 because you're trying to rest their arms. So you end up with some weird bullpen things.
Well, Mason Miller yesterday wasn't being used by DeRosa.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense. He said he would have used him in a save situation.
his
so he
explanation
could
didn't
throw
make
an inning.
sense.
You can throw an inning. You can throw an inning whether you're at because there was never going to be a save situation. They were the
Cubs,
home team, so they were never going to have a save situation.
Yeah.
So
the Cubs apparently almost screwed things up for Venezuela as well
with Palencia.
With Palencia because they said he could only save 1 inning.
Yeah,
and
which doesn't make sense.
The most important
if you want to say he can only pitch 1 inning. But I don't understand why a save would be more important than if you throw Miller in now for the top of the 9th, why that's different than the bottom of the 9th.
Well, USA manager Mark, I think it's safe to say USA manager Mark DeRosa is not going to be invited back by Team USA in this whole thing. That's 1. 2, I think this amplifies the discussion and should amplify the discussion is why can't we have baseball in the Olympics? Tell me, give me a good reason.
It should, but that's what Bryce Harper was saying, and I don't necessarily agree with the fact that basically it's more important. I think that this was awesome.
Would you watch baseball?
But you'd have to take 2.5 weeks off of the Major League season like hockey does. I don't think Major League Baseball wants
Didn't
to
we just conclude the Summer Olympics?
No,
the Winter Olympics.
Winter Olympics. Sorry. Jeez. Out of my mind here.
We'd have to take 2.5 weeks off in the middle of the summer. I don't think Major League Baseball is excited about that.
Get rid of the All-Star game and let them play the Summer
that's
Olympics.
3 days. The Olympics.
Do you care about the All-Star game?
No, but
I don't.
I'm saying that like the World Baseball Classic was over like 2 weeks, right? So I just don't think they'd much rather do that in spring training than in the middle of their time when people are really into it.
Yeah. Okay.
What if they did it right at the end of the season?
What, the Olympics? Move the entire Olympics because of baseball?
I mean,
I think the World Baseball Classic's in the perfect time. I love watching competitive baseball in March. I mean, they're all playing anyway.
So
not
teams
like we're bringing them out.
Teams don't have as much issue with pulling their players out during spring training where they're trying to set lineups and figure out who's going to play where and such and yank them out for a few weeks to do this?
Well, yeah, because it's spring training and those guys are getting more competitive at bats than they'd be getting in spring training, and the pitchers are facing better competition.
Okay.
So that's what I think.
You talked me into it. That's fine. I just thought I'd bring it up for discussion. I'm going to get shouted down by all you guys. That's fine. I feel like I'm a spectator sometimes in this program. Baseball will be, by the way, in the L.A. Olympics, according to the General. So
are we going to have Major League players, though? I bet we don't know
Probably
that yet.
not.
I bet not.
Don't you think we have enough amateur players in this?
Well, I don't know. The great thing about watching it was we had Acuna and Soto and those. I don't know that I'd want to. I mean, the Italian team was the idea of you'd probably have minor leaguers. You would send minor leaguers, not major league. I don't think the major league teams are taking a break.
But don't you think there's enough depth in the major league into the minor league system that you could field teams for every country and make it relevant? I understand the star power of things.
Yeah.
People want to see Ohtani. They want to see Judge. They want to see.
Yeah. Michael Jordan figured this out, that in the dream team, that it was way more exciting to have the professional players than to have the amateurs.
Okay, and NBA figured it out just because of timing. The Olympics because the timing worked out better. Because it was at the end of a season. They were done by the time the Olympics started. Yeah. So that's a good discussion, at least. So
it was fun, though.
No, I think it was competitive baseball. There weren't a lot of blowouts.
No,
I think it was
the crowds were crazy. The teams were totally into it, and it was competitive baseball for I thought the last 3 nights were great baseball.
All right.
I'll be interested to see if the U.S. takes it more seriously next time.
Hey, they got to the final. I mean, I don't know. There's
so what do you mean take it more serious, though?
Well, maybe they can have a manager that has managerial experience.
Okay, now we talked about this yesterday, is that we can't just lay all of that on DeRosa's head. He had assistants.
Although I think that if there's one person that needs to know, it's him.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that he's trying to manage a lot of other things as well, and things bubble up to the leader. Yes, I'm not disagreeing with that. He should have known the rules as well. But the minutia of how many runs in tiebreaker situations, like I said, his muscle memory is not like if I'm fighting for a playoff position in Major League Baseball, it's just game up, game down. Right. Do I have more games than they do? And if I don't, then I'm going to play in a one-game playoff. That was not entering into his mind when that happened.
I totally understand that. I think there are other things, too, besides just DeRosa. I think that the fact that you had players like Tariq Skubal who have, he has this weird, I'm going to appear for the first game, and then I'm going to be in the dugout, but I'm not going to pitch.
Contract year.
It seems like this weird situation is, and I just think that as well, there's something to be said about all these other teams, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Japan, how much fun they looked like they were having compared to the United States, who I think got a lot of pressure put on them after the DeRosa thing. I think that put some pressure on them, honestly. And then, guys like Aaron Judge didn't have great
It would be interesting to hear if somebody asked that question. Did you guys have fun playing in this or not? Because getting that silver medal didn't look like fun at all. They were taking them off before they got back to the dugout.
They should never have made them do that, too. I was watching that. It was like,
and Rob Manfred putting them around their necks.
Well, and he's like grabbing every one of them to give them like a good job message. I thought, if you want to do the medal ceremony, don't make the gold. Don't make the silver medal
stand out there.
It's one thing if there's like an event where there's one silver medalist and it's a big thing. When you got 29 dudes who don't want that thing coming up and Rob's consoling them all, I didn't think that was.
Yeah, there's a ton of I think there's probably 29 of them on eBay right now.
I'm sure there are, or in a garbage can somewhere in Miami.
$50 off of it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we will draw right after the break. Somebody's going to be a big winner. The Danny and Justin radio program with Goose. We're going to draw for the winner of the Coquel Casino Resort suite giveaway for the NCAA National Championship game. And then we will tell you who we think is going to win the whole thing in the big dance as we wind up a Wednesday program, Hump Day, on the Danny and Justin radio show. Welcome back to the Danny and Justin radio program. Here for a Wednesday, last show of the week. Justin, I'm going to try and get back from Reno before the show. All I'll say now in advance, do not count on it.
Okay. I'll be prepared for a solo show on Monday.
Do not count on it at all, but I will definitely be here Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So short week next week for us as well, because we are the home of the NCAA basketball championships here through the auspices of Westwood One, and you can hear the first four coming up here in just a few moments, in about 13 minutes from now, as it will be two more first four games, Lehigh against Prairie View A&M, and then SMU against our favorite one-loss team, Miami of Ohio, who helped me out last week, but oh well, it was still a 2-3 week. So we did all of the big bets throughout the basketball season. Had a little football in there, but basketball season was the biggest part of it, and you participated. Really, thanks, everybody. We expanded this. It used to be just something silly that Justin and I would do, and then this year we got the fans involved. It was a lot of fun having the fans involved. Made some new friends. We got guys, Chris from Junction. Chris will always be Chris from Junction City, and Steve, and our boy Brad, the OG. And so everybody who participated and won, if you won, you got extra entries. If you just participated, you're entered as well. So we drew for the winner, and the winner is the one-night stay for the championship game, Brad.
Nice. All right,
Brad.
He put in the work.
Well deserved.
Yes. So, Brad, congratulations. We will be contacting you, and Coquel will be contacting you about you and 7 of your best friends. You might have 3 of them right here. You never know. It's all up to you. We can ride your coattails. We're not lobbying for that, but I'm just saying, if you want to, you can invite us. We can always say no. But all right. So, boys, have you looked at the brackets?
I have.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a clear favorite this year, or is there 3 or 4 teams that really could win the whole thing? Or is there Florida's the defending champ, but I think they're the lowest 1 seed, right? I think they are.
They are.
And then you've got the other 1 seeds are Duke, Arizona, and Michigan.
Those are the 3 best bodies of work, clearly, throughout this year. Those
Okay.
3.
We're not going to go through every single game.
Can I tell you my general mentality?
Sure,
this
that's
year
what I was asking.
And for my bracket,
Yeah.
last year was such a year of no upsets that I think maybe this shift's happened in college basketball, that maybe things are just a little bit different now. So I generally did not do a lot of upsets in my bracket. I also had a little bit of bias with the teams I was
That's
picking
good.
into my.
Listen, he and I have
Final
already
Four.
discussed this. Goose. This is going to become readily apparent here in a few moments when we reveal the Final Four.
To me, my thing is there's a lot of injury and absences. Like today, the Louisville point guard, Mikael Brown, was announced out. The Alabama point guard grew like 18 pounds of weed, and it sounds like he's out.
Yes, he is.
Duke's got like 2 guys out. Caleb Wilson's out for North
Carolina.
For North Carolina, UCLA's got injuries to Denton. Bill, it just feels like there's a lot more injuries. So I've kind of downgraded teams that I think might head in with an injury or a pothead.
Late developing news and information. So
Pot dealer, more like.
okay,
Pot dealer, maybe.
All right.
So he had
Can
18
we
pounds of it.
Okay, can we not try the young man first before?
fair.
Okay, just let's let it play out. I'm not defending it, but at the same time. So I'm kind of in between the fence. I think there are some clear favorites, but I think there's at least going to be one dark horse, and probably not a too low of a seed, but one that's going to get in there and possibly upset some things. I don't think we're going to have a repeat champ. Although I do like Florida, and listen, you cannot, and they're one of the healthier teams, and they've got all that experience and the experience. They know what it takes to get.
They got
there.
a Graves on the bench.
And they've got
Yes,
a
they
Graves
do.
on the bench. I mean, come on. So I didn't even think about that.
He's a
nice
friend
sucking
of the
up, by way.
program. He was on the program with Justin and I last year after they won it.
That's right. It was with you.
Will Graves.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
He was great.
Another
He
great
was
interview
great.
that I missed because I was out doing
you were doing
regular
something.
stuff.
We
No,
don't
I was
remember what you were
working.
doing, but
I
you were doing
was
something.
working, Justin. I was making money for my family.
Maybe we can get Will Graves back on if Florida wins it again.
Okay, maybe so. Maybe we get him on with his dad
There
as
you
well.
go. That'd be great.
So let's start with who do you think comes out of the East? Let's start there. Let's do it that way. Who comes to the Final Four out of the East?
So following
Number
my
1 seed in the East is Duke. Go.
following my theory on injuries, I don't like Duke because of the injuries, so I have them getting Kansas. I think Kansas gets on a roll. Peterson's playing now. Kansas, Michigan State, and Tom Izzo into the Final Four.
Okay, so you got Michigan State, Baby J.
Okay, I have Duke. I do think it's going to be fun. I want the rematch between Michigan State and UCLA, I guess, for a third time. That would be really fun. But I do have Duke coming out of that East bracket.
So, totally personal. Michigan State hosed me during big bets. Kansas hosed me during big bets. So I'm staying with Duke.
I don't want to go through your record, but if we're just doing teams that host you in big bets, you're going to have a hard time picking anybody
in
this
fact,
year.
this would probably be like Florida would be the only team that would make it through. No, so I do think even though there is that injury, I do think that there's enough for Duke to be able to get them through. They've shown a better. Kansas has been up and down. Michigan State, it's a yo-yo with these guys. Duke has been the most consistent team throughout. That one loss they have on the road against UNC, that was their only bad loss in the last month and a half of the season. So I'm going to stay with the Dukies. I'll stay now in the South, and I'm going to say Gators are going to go through. So I have Duke taking on Florida in one national semifinal. Go ahead, Baby J.
I've got Illinois.
I know you do.
I got Illinois. I'm big on Illinois.
let's go.
Yeah, I got Illinois.
Nice.
I got Illinois
I'm
over
not
Florida.
biased.
Illinois over Florida
Me
in the
too.
Elite Eight.
All right, so we do not have the same one half of the bracket at all. It's not even close. All right, so let's move into the West. This is where the number 1 seed here is Arizona, but Purdue is the number 2 seed. So, Goose, let's start with you.
I just like the idea of Tommy Lloyd versus Mark Few. So I doctored my brackets to get me a Tommy Lloyd versus Mark Few and the mentor defeating the prodigy. So I have Gonzaga beating Arizona. Strictly because of the storyline. No other
That would be
parts.
really fun. I have Gonzaga losing to BYU, who I have making a run that gets to the Elite Eight against Wisconsin, who I have upsetting Arizona in the Sweet 16, and I have Wisconsin going to the Final Four.
Okay.
I've got a Big Ten.
Is Alaska in this tournament? Because if
No,
Alaska
they're not.
Anchorage is in it, he's going to have them winning the Final Four.
The Danny,
Alaska Fairbanks.
the Danny and Justin radio program, along with Goose here, as we're winding through our Final Four, and then we'll tell you who we think is going to be the champion. I've got a Big Ten team, but it's not Wisconsin. It's Purdue. I think Boiler up. They're on the right side of the bracket. Gonzaga, I liked them last year a lot, and they came through for me. I've got Gonzaga into the Sweet 16, but I have them losing to Purdue in that round. I don't have Arizona coming out of the round of 32. I have Villanova upsetting Arizona. So I just think there's going to be something that they're
I
sketchy
have Utah
sometimes.
State beating Villanova in the first round. So
So there we go. So we disagree there. All right, so let's head to the Midwest, and I'll start this. And I do have another Big Ten team. I think the number 1 seed there, Michigan, rides all the way through that. I think this is out of all of them. I think this is the weakest section of the entire tournament.
I agree. I have Michigan over Iowa State to get
That's what I
Michigan
have.
into the Final
Yep.
Four. But, yeah, I don't see – whereas, like you say, having Purdue and Arkansas in that West and having UConn and Duke in that East, I think you're right. With Michigan, Iowa State, and then when your 3 seed is Virginia and then Alabama with, again, the accused pot dealer – I think, and Texas Tech, I think that's definitely the weakest one. And I think Michigan might be the best team anyway, so you got the best team in the worst bracket.
I have the same Elite Eight as you guys, and I have Michigan winning it all.
You have Michigan winning it all? You just went right to it.
I think I did. Let me just look again.
Okay, I was going to say, so you've got them in the semifinals. So me, I've got Michigan taking on Purdue. You've got Michigan taking on
Gonzaga.
Yeah, Michigan winning it all.
And you've got Michigan
Wisconsin.
taking on Wisconsin.
Correct.
You say you got Michigan winning it all. All right, who's going to win the national championship, Goose? You're on a roll, by the way.
I am on a roll. I have an all Big Ten title. I have Illinois, your Illinois, against Michigan. Illinois against Michigan, and I have Michigan winning it all. Again, I think that's the best team. Old team, veteran team. Give me Michigan.
So here's the problem I have right now, is that I want to take Michigan because I think they're their overall best team, but I don't think that's great radio. Because you both took Michigan.
No.
So I have to go on the opposite. I'm going to go Duke. Duke hasn't won it for a while.
I think this is
They
the
beat
mistake that we
Michigan in
make
the regular
sometimes.
season. They beat them in the regular season.
This is what you
The
said?
mistake that we make sometimes, and I didn't say you, I said we, is that we basically plan on doing something that we feel like is what's going to happen, and then you see the other person's picks, and it goes, well, I don't want to have the same thing as them.
I was at a wild disadvantage the last 2 weeks, by the way, because I had to record my picks. I had no idea what you guys were doing because there was some
I
strategy.
played it really fair. You can ask him.
He
No,
did.
he does.
He had the
I don't-
opportunity to doctor it, but I don't think he did.
I didn't say there was any tomfoolery. I just said I was at the disadvantage because sometimes, especially if you're the guy punching up, there is strategy that happens when it comes to you're playing against somebody else.
I
So-
had Duke, by the way, in the final with Michigan.
Oh, you did. So you
Yeah.
had Duke coming from the other side.
Yeah, so
of
I'm
that
only
bracket.
biased for so long. When it comes to the championship game, I'll go with who I really think is
I
going to win.
think that if it's Duke, Michigan, I think it's going to be a whale of a national championship game.
Like I said, they played at
played.
Duke 2 weeks ago, and it was a great game.
So, well, so we've got the first 4 finishing up. Okay, so Goose, I can pull you in because you and I talked about this a little bit as well the other day. So let's hear from Goose on why do we have the first 4 and why are
completely
you
agree.
11 seeds and 16 seeds in the first 4? Why don't you just have all nothing but 16 seeds playing in the first 4? Having 11 seeds having to play in Dayton on a Tuesday or a Wednesday right before the tournament, I think is egregious.
Agree. I don't like the first 4. I would be opposite of you. I want the 16s automatically, and they deserve a chance to get that Thursday.
So who
Friday.
do you put in the
So
first?
then I'm putting the 10s and 11s all in there because that's teams that have Texas North. They've all been in that Thursday. That Thursday Friday is really special to be a part of that day. I would let Howard and UMBC and those ones in there. But my bigger point is I want 64 teams. if it's 68, and I know people like this, I'd rather it be 96. I want Tuesday to be a full day of basketball then. I hate these Tuesday, Wednesday, like the 3:30, 5 o'clock games that I don't want to watch. If they're going to give me NCAA tournament games on Tuesday and Wednesday, I want the whole day then.
But you know what's tough about that then is the teams that are like the 3 and the 4 seeds possibly having to travel, jump time zones within a day. So you don't know until Sunday where you're going.
Yeah.
So do we get rid of the conference tournaments? You can't do that because they're automatic qualifiers. Not like in football where we could get rid of the conference championships. Yeah. But in college basketball, you can't do that. I mean, you're asking a lot of kids on a Sunday packing your bags and hopping on planes on Sunday afternoon or evening and then heading to a site, get a walkthrough on Monday, and then you're playing on Tuesday. I'm not disagreeing with it. I just said the logistics need to get worked out. But it would even the playing field out.
If we're doing Tuesday, Wednesday games, give me all day of games. I would rather go back to the 64 and we start this thing on Thursday. But if you're going to put bad games on Tuesday and Wednesday, give me more bad games.
I get it.
Yeah. I want games all day long. I wish there was a game on right now if we're going to have it. Because I will listen on the radio tonight because I love to support KORE. I will listen to the games, but I don't want to watch them.
All right, so we're in agreement that Michigan is going to make the title game. That's what we all agree on.
Yep.
And it will be, for me, I'm going to take the Blue Devils. Not necessarily. My dad loved the Blue Devils, so again, shout out, Pops. Maybe they bring one home for you in heaven. And you guys got the Wolverines. So There we go. Well, we start the journey on Thursday. And actually, we start here in about another minute or so.
That's right.
As the first 4 concludes in Dayton, Ohio. Justin and possibly Doc will be back on Monday.
Correct.
Dad joke real quick. What did the duck say after he went shopping? Put it on my bill.
Ooh, good one. All
right. Peace. God bless. Be well. Put a smile on your face. Someone else as they deserve it. So do you.